Good morning. I am Chris Walton, and I serve on the board of DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. I welcome everyone to our services this morning. Just one, remember. And welcome visitors to our open and inclusive community. As Unitarian Universalists, we hope that there are many spiritual paths to truth and meaning, and we support one another as we explore these paths. I would like to especially welcome our guests and welcome again those who have visited us before. Visitors, it is the custom of our congregation to ask you to stand up and give your name and where you are from, if you feel comfortable doing so. Are there any visitors who would like to introduce themselves?
I'm Kim. I'm from Beach.
Welcome, Kim. Somebody over there.
I'm Katie. I'm from
Welcome.
I'm Linda from Naperville.
Welcome, Linda. Let's see. Wait, one more. Always one more.
I'm Rachel Harrison. I recently moved here from San Diego to work for FTD Companies. I live in Downers Grove right now.
Welcome. Always one more. Please join us, everyone, for the service after the service for coffee hour. We would love to have a chance to get to know you better. Our Director of Religious Education, Steve Cooper, our current Congregational Life Coordinator, Mary Law, and all of the members will be eager to meet you. I will also be present after the service in Creeves Hall and be happy to answer your questions. Our service can be heard outside the glass doors at the back of the sanctuary should anyone feel the need to leave the service for any reason. There are chairs provided for your convenience. As we begin our service, please silence all electronic devices. Thank you. And one announcement again, you might have heard it before. Our church is our best. Our church is our best when we do church together. The Board of Trustees is seeking fun, creative, and motivated individuals for key roles. If not now, when? Say, if not who, if not you, then who? I'll add that. If not, it's already, I was going to add that, but it's already there. Please see Karen Peck in Creeves Hall after the service, and together let's live our principles and have fun. And if Karen is not here, please see me or a member of the board. She's right there. Hi, Karen. So, see her. Don't see me. Thank you.
We light our chalice to illuminate all the dark pathways in our hearts and minds, to illuminate life because the unexpected is what hides in all of our darknesses. We light this chalice because we know, deep in our bones we know, to expect the unexpected. May it ever be so, and blessed be you all. We're trying a new thing, and then hopefully the slide will be up in a second. I'm going to ask you to join me in reading an affirmation that is in keeping with the principles of Unitarian Universalism. So if you wish to, I invite you to join me now. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Blessed be.
Not too long ago, I was wandering a bookstore and heading towards the children's book section to browse. As I approached, I passed through the parenting section, and below a large sign, there was a 3-tiered shelf, each with front-facing books, marking the wall with these titles: What to Expect When You're Expecting, What to Expect the First Year, What to Expect the Toddler Years. Clearly, the bookstore was banking on soon-to-be parents, their deep desire to know and prepare for what was to come in their families. While at first, expectation seems to be about looking ahead, but in reality, I think it actually ties together the past and the future. In order to have an expectation about what is to come, we rely on past experiences and patterns, our own or others, to make those predictions. And then we give our expectations emotional weight: hope, dread, eagerness, entitlement. In these ways, our past can trip us up. We can unintentionally close our minds to new possibilities by making assumptions about what will happen next. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Spirit of Life. It's number 123 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be projected.
So that was my fault, folks, because I told her we were going to do it twice.
I would like to invite all of our youth and young people to come forward, join Reverend Mike and myself on our gathering quilt. We have some scientific experiments to do this morning.
Good morning. How are you all doing? Good? They're coming out of the woodwork. Hello, good morning.
So when I was growing up, going to school, I was fascinated with math. Specifically, when I got into geometry, because we learned about shapes and how to use math to affect shapes. But there's one thing that we learned about that just took everything I knew and turned it on its head. And it's a shape called the Mobius strip. And with the Mobius strip, it changes the properties of a strip of paper. So if you look at this, it has two sides, right? It has a side here, and it has a side there, right? And it has two edges, like that. However, if I put it together, now I could just put it together like this, right? And that makes a loop. But it still has two sides, right? An inside and an outside, and it has two edges. However, if I take this and I give it just a little twist and put those ends together, now, in front of your eyes, now this has only one side and one edge. How could that be?
Oh, yeah.
Do you believe that it only has one side?
Yes.
Does it only have one side now?
It has two. And I mean, yeah, it does have one. Because if you go around, it flips it over. It flips it
So
over.
here we go. I'm not going to lift the marker, and I'm going to just keep drawing and keep drawing and keep drawing. And it's just going to keep going around and around. Wait a second.
And you're going under your other line.
And it goes around and around and around. And now I've met up where I started. But look at that. It has the line on both sides. Or actually, it's on the same side, right? And there's only one edge. If I were to go along just one edge and keep going around, when I'm done, it would end up having a line on both edges. So the question is, why did the chicken cross the Mobius strip?
I didn't.
To get to the same side.
So you want me to cut this?
Not a great joke.
So, what do you think is going to happen to this if I take these scissors and I cut it following this line down the middle? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think?
It's going to end up with two Mobius strips.
You have two Mobius strips? What do you think?
Same thing.
Same thing? Any other ideas?
Then I was sorting in really geometry.
Well, we're going to give it a try and see what happens.
So we're going to see how your expectations work out.
You don't draw a very straight line, Steve.
I was freehanding it.
What does binary mean?
What does
Two.
binary mean? Two, yes. Okay, so here it goes. Boom. Oh,
It did not cut into two strips,
So-
two Mobius.
Wait, Mobius.
well, is it a Mobius strip?
Wait, is there?
Because a Mobius strip has one twist in it, right?
Sophia, what do you think?
What happens if you untwist it?
What were you going to say?
It kind of looks like an eye.
You kind
It looks
of looks like an eye.
It's just a regular.
So we're
So
gonna,
now it is half as wide, but it's no longer a Mobius strip. It is because now it has two twists. So now it has two sides again.
So if we ran a pen along it, we'd only be able to write on one side, and then we'd have to flip it over and write on the other side.
And then if you
Okay, hold on.
So why don't you go ahead and lift that a little bit higher so that those in the back can see that it is not two Mobius strips.
He's got,
So let's exceed your expectations again. I'm going to now, see, I have a line there where I've split it into thirds. So Mike cut it into halves. I'm going to cut it into thirds. Anybody have any expectation of what we're going to get out of this? What do you think?
That would turn into a Mobius strip because that's an odd number of twists.
All right, so let's see what happens. So I'm going to cut along the line that makes it a third. And cut along, and cut along, cutting. Oops, now I'm on the other, what was the other line?
Around and around he goes.
I'm gonna go around and around. I wonder what we could possibly get out of this. Do you think it's going to be like, is it going to be 3 times as big, but now with 3 twists?
Yeah, 3 times as big. And it's going to be Mobius strip. 4 twists.
So here's the final cut. We now have, what Reverend Mike made. We have a 2 times loop, but it has 2 twists, but it now has an existing Mobius strip, now 1/3 of its width, but they're still interlinked.
Ah,
Did anybody see that coming?
no.
Let's blow your mind another time.
Okay. So here we have just 2 loops, right? There's no twists, it's just 2 loops that are attached together. So if I follow the lines around, what do you think this is going to become? What do you think?
I think it might be like something like a Mobius strip, but like with a ring of some sort.
Okay, something like a Mobius strip but with a ring. Did I see a hand in the back? Hold on, guys. No? Okay, what do you think?
I think it's probably just going to become 4 loops that are attached together.
4
4
loops
loops
attached
just-
together, kind of like a chain?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. What do you think?
I think that it's going to become 8 or 6 loops. Okay. Yeah, 6 loops. Because each time you cut, they separate.
Okay, well, why don't we find out here?
So there's 1 loop cut.
It's not even a loop.
Okay, so there's another line here. I better follow the other line. Hold on just a sec.
Oh, they're going to get flat. Oh, no, they're not. It's okay.
Okay,
Why don't you stand up and hold it up?
look at that.
You get a square.
Did you see that coming? That was unexpected, wasn't it?
All right. I'm going to take a loop connected to a Mobius strip. Now what are we going to get? It's going to be just something completely way out, right? Any idea? Anybody have any idea?
I bet this was gonna cut it in half.
I'm going to cut the Mobius strip first. And we're going to have so right now we have a twisted mess, right? Now, any guesses?
Wait,
I bet it's gonna. Yes, it's gonna be a circle.
So I'm almost there, almost there. It is going to turn into
A square Mobius strip. A square, but it's like a square, but it is a square.
aha.
it is also a square.
Oh yeah, because it's a Mobius
Oh, we did not expect that.
So even though one of them was a Mobius, it still turned into a square. So it actually is the same thing as two loops. Who would have thought that? Sophia.
If you turn that square this way, then it's turned.
It does turn into a diamond, yes. All right, let's one more time. Let's
So-
blow your mind.
We have one last one here, and this one is two Mobius strips that are attached to each other, right? So any guesses what this is going to look like when we cut on the lines? Square. Everybody thinks a square. What do you?
See, now you're letting expectations change your, or experiences change your expectations.
It's because it's two lines. I think it's gonna turn into two small.
Two small
Two small
squares?
squares? Okay, let's find out. I have noticed that every one of these has fooled me. They were not what I was expecting.
Oh.
Okay.
You have a twisted mess.
Okay. Huh.
Double Mobius strip, so nothing. Square, twisted square, regular.
A twisted square?
Right, it's a regular strip, something like that.
That sounds like a rock band.
It's going to be square. No, it's going to be square. Oh no, it's just going to be a big square. I know what it's going to be, I think.
And this one, I'll help you with this
Oh,
one.
it's two squares linked. Yep.
Better yet, it's two linked hearts.
Who would have known? Nobody guessed that.
I thought it might be two. I thought
All right.
it was going to be two squares.
Now, the thing to know about this is that each Mobius strip, one was twisted to the right, the other one was twisted to the left.
Oh.
If you have them twisted the same way, you get something completely different. That's for you to experiment with at home.
I thought it was going
Yeah.
to be. I thought it was going to be two squares connected.
So, do you think there's any practical application to a Mobius strip other than it blows your mind?
Decoration.
So, have you ever seen like at an old mill where they have all their equipment is running off of a belt? So the water's turning the wheel, and then there's a belt attached to the axle of the wheel, and that belt attaches to the drill or to the saw or to the different things. With that belt, if you look at it, it's like, is that twisted? Yes. Because that way, it gives it twice the belt, twice the life, because it has twice the travel, and it uses both sides of the belt to do the turning. Another way you can use the Mobius strip is that, say that you want a movie, or what you can do is that you can have it with just a loop where you draw the pictures on it, but you only have the pictures that you can do on one side. You still have a whole other side that's not being used. So you can actually double the length of your movie by putting on a Mobius strip, and then it doubles the length of your movie. So I made a bunch of Mobius strips. There's a box over there with Mobius strips. If you would like to take them back to you where you are seated with your parents, there are markers and crayons on the floor as usual. And if you would like to make a movie on your Mobius strip, now is your time to do that. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 354 from the Gray Hymnal. We laugh, we cry. We are singing verses 1 and 4, and the words will be projected.
It is so difficult to see this flower because the countless others we've seen before cloud the view, along with how we expect it to look and how it might be improved. Even the faces of the ones we love deeply hide like buried treasure behind histories of expression. In order to see what is right in front of our eyes, we first have to recognize we have gradually become blind and then begin the slow work of forgetting. The opening line from the poem I just read by Darren Larson, "It is so difficult to see this flower because the countless others we've seen before cloud the view," is a way of saying that we can all too easily close our minds to new possibilities by making assumptions about what will happen next. We get so used to the status quo that it never occurs to us to change expectations. At school, is there always someone who picks on the other kids and never gets caught? Have you come to expect that to happen every day? At work, do your peers tend to forget to invite you to meetings or outings? Or perhaps when you offer an idea, it is ignored, but when someone else offers the same idea, it is praised? Have you just come to expect that that always will be the case? There are positive expectations too. There may be a restaurant that you go to all the time because you know they will provide tasty food for you and the employees are always friendly. You have certain friends that you spend time with because it's always a fun experience. You can also have no expectations going into a situation, meaning that your past experiences steered you to have neither positive or negative expectations. For example, when I started at this church 1 month ago today, my experience said that I would meet the staff a couple days before Sunday and then on Sunday gradually get to meet the people in the congregation. So this is my fifth church, my fifth ministry, fourth church, serving as interim minister over the past 10 years. And I've never experienced a welcoming party on my behalf. It was unexpected and a very pleasant experience. However, this may have changed my expectations for the next church I serve. How do expectations change? Let's take a moment to reflect on the question. As you've gotten older, do you expect more of life or less of life? How about people? Has age convinced you to expect the best or the worst in them? We also have expectations of self. When we were younger, we may have set goals for our future selves, or perhaps others may have had certain expectations of you. Contemplating how we have or have not met our own and others' expectations can be rough on a person spiritually. There is a value to letting go of expectations if they no longer fit, or if we simply need a break from stretching to reach that unattainable goal. Take another moment and reflect on these questions. Which one of your life expectations is quickly approaching its shelf life? What might you do now to best transition out of that expectation and into a new one? Also remember the important connection between being a person of expectation and being a person of forgiveness, apology, beginning again. If we are let down by failed expectations, we can take responsibility for our part in the disappointment. We can reconnect. We can atone. We can assess whether we're willing and able to make different choices in the future. So the last question is, what's your work in all of this? Blessed be. The goodwill offering from this community empowers your church to offer engaging programs for our children, to fill our sanctuary with music, to stream our services online, to get our message of liberal values out into the world. We seek to make a positive difference in the lives of people here, for people out there, and even for people we have not yet met. If you're visiting us for the first time, we invite you to let the offering bowl pass you by because you are our honored guests. And if you've made this place your spiritual home, have made this community your spiritual community, we thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be received. Thank you, Vera. And with deep gratitude for the generosity of this community, let us all say together, Thank you.
Sometimes the best journeys are those without destinations. Letting a hike or a drive unfold in unexpected ways is a reminder that we don't always have to be in control or bend our paths to fit our exact desires. When I was young, my dad would say, "Steve, hop in the car, let's go for a drive." And after riding for 20 or 30 minutes, we would somehow end up driving past a hardware store that he's been wanting to check out, or the hobby store, or the garden center. But I could never tell the destination based on the route that my dad was driving, because we rarely took the same route twice. I saw this play out even further when I was in college. During summer months, I would do some freelance work where my dad was employed. And he loved that because it allowed him to get an extra hour of sleep in the morning as I drove to work. He would always give me the initial navigation instructions. Take 59 down to Miller Road. Or on another day, get on 12 in town and take it to Half Day. Yet another time, he would say, take 176 to Gilmer, and then down to Half Day. I always thought that it was based on traffic information that he had. But he never listened to the radio in the morning or watched TV. We were always approaching the same destination in Elk Grove Village, but always from a different way. There would be times my dad would open his eyes when we stopped at an intersection, and he'll say, turn left here, or turn right at the next intersection. And then he would close his eyes and go back to sleep. Now, this was before GPS. So I didn't have a backup voice telling me how to steer back onto the proper route. I had to drive by feel. I knew I wanted to wind my way in the southeast direction and that my boundaries were Bussey and Higgins roads. And if I hit either of them, that meant that I had to take that the rest of the way to work. But I would need to feel my way as I worked my way in the direction towards work. So I learned two things during that time: how to get to a destination by driving in a general direction, and I learned where every video arcade, mini golf course, electronics store, park, forest preserve were in the northwest suburbs. My dad had no insight other than to venture some new way. So I took this into my years of driving. When I commuted between Aurora and Arlington Heights and later to Oak Lawn, I would rarely take the same route during the week. I was always finding new ways and new points of interest. In my travels, if I see a billboard for points of interest, I'll jump off the highway and drive the back roads on my way to my destination. I have found that driving unexpected ways opens up my life experience in unexpected ways. Please stand in body or spirit and join in singing hymn 348 from the gray hymnal, Guide My Feet. The words will be projected.
this race even if we don't know where we're going.
Drive by, sing by feel.
Have you ever heard the expression, a Cinderella story? That phrase is often used to describe when something exceptionally good is happening to someone kind. It is wonderful when such things occur, but we know that it takes more than a person's good-heartedness. It is that person's social connections, material wealth, or education that create the opportunity for them to enjoy benefits. This is privilege. As we start the month of expectation, rather than accepting the fairy tale at face value and assuming that good things happen to people who are good, we're going to playfully turn that expectation on its head. Steve is going to share with you a very special version of Cinderella, the spoonerized version.
Prenderella and the Sense. Once upon a while, there was a giddy little pearl named Prenderella. She lived in a big house with her 2 sisty uglers and her micked wepstother. All day long, poor Prenderella had to wean the clendos and flub the scrors and pine the shots and shams. One day, the Ping issued a proclamation that all Gelgible Gung Yurls were to attend the Drancy Fest Ball. Poor Prenderella couldn't attend the Drancy Fest Ball, for all she had was Rurdy Drag. So she cat down and scried. All of a sudden, her merry fodgother appeared and said, "Prenderella, why are you crying?" And Prenderella replied, "Oh, merry fodgother, I can't go to the dressy fance ball, for all I have is a Rurdy Drag." "Oh, you shall go," said merry fodgother, and in an eiling of a twink, she changed the Cumpkin into a parriage and the Rurdy Drag into a Drancy Fess. "Oh, thank you, merry fodgother," Prenderella replied. "Now I shall attend the Drancy Fest Ball." "Under one condition," warned merry fodgother. "You must be home by the moke of stridnight." So all night long, Prenderella danced with the Sense. But at the moke of stridnight, she raced down the Stalus Peps, and onto the Stodum Dep she slopped her dripper. The next day, the Ping issued another proclamation that all Gelgible Gung Yurls were to sly on the tripper. The 2 sisty uglers and the micked wepstother slide on the tripper, but it fidn't it. However, when Prenderella slide on the tripper, it fit did. So Prenderella and the Sense lived afterly ever happer. But the 2 sisty uglers and the micked wepstother were left all alone in the big house. Now wasn't that a shirty dame?
I'm sure the story caught you off guard a little bit. Your expectations led you to believe you were going to hear the Cinderella story as you've always heard it before. However, it is because of your experience with the story that you were able to cope with the unexpected. Once you realized what was happening, you were able to translate Steve's words into the story that you know and expected. Or at least I did. I hope you did. I wonder, have you ever been able to be a kind of real-life fairy god person for another, helping to make something better when the person expected things to go badly? Has someone ever done this for you? If you were in the Cinderella story, who would you be? The Spoonerism version of Cinderella was funny partly because some of the words sounded so silly. There are some other parts of the original story that are silly, absurd, or odd too. Does it always have to be a helpless girl being found by a prince to live happily ever after? I wonder how many relationships work out when the couple starts living together a day after they meet. We need to change the expectations of these everyday stories from Cinderella having her life changed by the help of others around to her, to Cinderella taking charge and creating the change herself. I now invite you to rise in body or in spirit to sing our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. The words will be projected on the screen, and it's 10:08 in the Teal hymnal. Go out, walk into this world of ours, and be open to the unexpected that comes your way. Do an unexpected thing that brings joy to another person. Go out, walk in this world of ours, and promote peace and goodwill for all everywhere you go. Speak out, speak up, be a force for good in this crazy world. Go out, walk in this world of ours, and share of your love and compassion for all needing grace. Open your heart to those to whom you would bring joy. Go out and walk in this world of ours. Blessed be, and go now in peace.